Donald Trump has once again left Americans stunned. Not by what he said, but by what he just did. In a move that critics say sends a dangerous message about power and accountability, Trump just made a decision that perfectly reflects his values and his history. That's right, because Trump has just left America stunned with a deplorable new pardon. How's it going, everybody? Hunter Avallone here with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Now, we're going to get to Donald Trump's deplorable new pardon in just a moment, but first, let's take a little step back and remember how corrupt Donald Trump really is. It wasn't that long ago when a major journalist called Donald Trump one of the most corrupt presidents ever.
This is both the thing that unifies modern dictators, and it's also the thing that often unifies their opponents. And so the fact that the Trump administration is moving so quickly in a kleptocratic direction and beginning to eliminate one by one all kinds of norms, defying all kinds of laws, changing existing laws to enable theft, essentially, and to enable corruption, should really alarm us, because this is very often what precedes a broader crackdown on civil society. And it is again, corruption and self-dealing on a scale that we've never seen in American history. And this really puts this administration in a completely different league. Yeah, no, he's going to have to break a lot of institutions. He will have to, he's seeking to break the Department of Justice right now. He will have to break the FBI, which he's already partway towards doing that by putting the extreme partisan Kash Patel in charge of it.
This dire warning is incredibly concerning, but it gets even worse. Trump's corruption is so blatant that even Republicans are turning against Donald Trump on live TV.
Ponzi pyramid thing is funny money.
Right. So politically, it had value, right? He leaned into the crypto bros. He strung them along, got their votes. Now he's got to cut them off. Because, and this is, my issue is less about the president and more about the country. Crypto is a scam.
It is.
And these guys, these investors, they desperately need the government to legitimize their so-called investment. Otherwise, they're going to lose everything. And if they get what they want, which is displacing the fiat currency, the U.S. dollar, we're no longer the reserve currency. We no longer have the power to sanction. We lose everything. So, the senator talking, complaining is rich because it's not like you can't buy access to him by giving money to his campaign. Exactly. So give me a break. Yeah. The problem is what this could do to America.
That's very interesting. It's such an interesting point because I think it is different from what people would expect if you're a supporter of Trump. But it's a more of a national security question, which I think is colliding with Trump's pocketbook, because he is in that meeting, not because they necessarily that he wants to hear what they have to say. He's in that meeting because they paid money that is coming to him. Yeah. And which is in direct conflict to what you're saying, which is that what's in the best interest of the country.
This is embarrassing, even for Republicans. But trust me, things get so much worse, because Donald Trump has just stunned America with a deplorable new pardon. That's right, the moment you've been waiting for, and the moment that has everyone deeply concerned. Take a look.
In a courtroom packed with his own family, most of the trial for the first time, former Culpeper County Sheriff Scott Jenkins told this jury he did not take bribes. Instead, he called it funding for a political campaign. Accepting donations for your campaign is perfectly okay, Jenkins told the jury. On cross-examination, Jenkins told the jury and federal prosecutors that he had the authority to appoint anyone he saw fit as an auxiliary deputy in Culpeper. He said that auxiliary deputy ordinances in Culpeper didn't apply to him as an elected constitutional sheriff, and that he'd never even read his own general order on the auxiliary deputy program. Under questioning from federal prosecutors about the alleged bribes, Jenkins said, "If you're asking me if I accept political donations, then I choose as I see fit to appoint anyone as an auxiliary deputy. Yes, it's what I did as sheriff for 12 years. Rick Rahim was one of those auxiliary deputies he appointed. Rahim pleaded guilty to bribing Jenkins. Jenkins today said the $45,000 in cash Rahim gave him wasn't a bribe, but money for a still unexplained but ultimately unsuccessful business venture.
Former Culpeper County Sheriff Scott Jenkins has just been sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. A jury found him guilty in December on all 12 counts connected to the bribes for badges case. The judge this morning saying Jenkins took an oath but failed, and that, quote, the jury decided you are in fact a criminal, end quote.
Now the nation is stunned as Trump stepped in and offered to pardon this man. Despite overwhelming evidence, including undercover videos, sworn testimony, and a unanimous guilty verdict, Trump is dismissing it all. He's painting Sheriff Scott Jenkins as a victim of political persecution by a weaponized Biden DOJ. And now, in a blistering post, Trump lays out exactly why he believes Jenkins deserves a full and unconditional pardon. Here's what he said. Sheriff Scott Jenkins, his wife Patricia, and their family have been dragged through hell by a corrupt and weaponized Biden DOJ. This sheriff is a victim of an overzealous Biden Department of Justice and doesn't deserve to spend a single day in jail. He is a wonderful person who was persecuted by the radical left monsters and left for dead. This is why I, as President of the United States, see fit to end his unfair sentence and grant Sheriff Jenkins a full and unconditional pardon. He will not be going to jail tomorrow, but instead will have a wonderful and productive life. The irony couldn't be more glaring. A convicted felon, Donald Trump, now pledging to pardon a corrupt sheriff convicted of taking bribes and selling badges. It's a stunning reflection of how far the standards of leadership have fallen. Instead of draining the swamp, Trump is protecting it, rewarding corruption with forgiveness so long as that corruption benefits him.
This is absolutely pathetic. I'm not surprised at all that the corrupt president taking bribes, enriching himself, is also now pardoning somebody who took bribes and enriched himself. Trump's corruption absolutely knows no bounds, and America is quaking under his presidency. Mark off your calendars. We only have 1,000-something days left of Donald Trump.